This whole like moment of silence, like let's pour one out for the possible doom here every single time we talk about AI is not helpful.
Quick rebuttal, because I couldn't disagree more with this. Why is this CEO and this CTO's view on Claude Opus 4.7 so different? CTO using the application likes it. CEO sitting on Twitter all day does not like it.
Does not like the vibes.
Should AI companies stay out of politics? Do AI companies just need some better PR? And why can't Sam Altman catch a break? Welcome to the Cerebral Valley Show, hosted by me, Eric Newcomer, alongside Max Child and James Wilsterman, the co-founders of Weekend. All right, we're back with the Cerebral Valley Show. Max, who is the winner or loser of the week? Ideally both.
I have one loser, and it is, and this is a bit of a twist given the news cycle and the hero's journey we've all been living through. But I say my loser of the week is Anthropic for releasing Opus 4.7.
What?
Opus 4.7. I know. Silicon Valley could not be higher on their own supply in terms of thinking how great Anthropic
Literally,
is.
I think the Anthropic valuation on the secondary markets is like past OpenAI
like
since we last recorded.
Yes.
And DoD is capitulating and using Mythos. And you're saying our opening loser of the week is Anthropic. I'm buckled up for this one.
Let me explain why. It's because we are in the early stages of a vibe shift against Anthropic, okay? People feel that Opus has continually been degraded in secret behind the scenes, that 4.6 was actually worse than 4.5, that 4.6 started degrading, and then they released 4.7, which is just sort of bringing things back to an okay version of 4.6. Tons of people, myself included, find the Claude Mac app to be buggy and ridiculous, and this idea that it's built by some super genius AGI is absurd, given it's like the most piece of shit app I have on my Mac right now. And just overall, people feel like they don't have enough compute to actually serve up their models, and so they're degrading them and raising prices and putting rate limits on and everything. And so I'm just saying the Twitter, the X, the vibes, the spear, the tip of the spear of the vibes is beginning to turn against Anthropic. I can sense it. I can feel it in the ether.
I am going to take, can I take the opposite view of this? Like, I think the exact opposite of this take is that
wrong.
The vibe, yeah, it's wrong. The vibes are always like wrong about these new model releases. Like going back over the last year, people didn't like Opus 4, right? Like when it first came out last year in November, I think. And then it took like a month or two for everyone to, wake up and get Claude pilled all of a sudden. First of all, the vibes are not reliable. Second of all, the model is really, really, really good at agentic coding, and that is what they're focused on. I use it. I like it. I think it's better than 4.6. You have to put it on extra high effort or max effort.
CTO using the application likes it.
Yep.
CEO sitting on Twitter all day does not like it.
Does
Exactly.
not like the vibes. The vibes have shifted. Look, have you guys ever seen Margin Call? By the way, the movie, The Margin Call,
of course.
where Jeremy Irons says his entire job is just to sense if the music is still playing, and he's like, I don't hear a thing. That's how I'm feeling. The music isn't off for Anthropic yet, but I hear it slowing down.
Totally.
I can hear it slowing down.
Way wrong. First of all, I think this is akin to like people tweeting about some like airline, having to delay. It's like it's a service that they've become so reliant on that they would never abandon no matter what, that they're like grumbling about like things around the edges. Yes, I think 4.7 admitted that the context window was worse. Yes, there's been some cases where Anthropic is sort of like quietly like had you use less powerful features unless you go back and turn it back on. So there are minor things, but I think these are insane power users quibbling around the edges, and overall Anthropic is on fire in the best way right now. I mean, obviously, we have this mystical app, Mythos, that we haven't seen, but Opus, 4.7, are you not using it? Like, have you actually switched to anything else, Max?
No, I've been using it.
You're
I've been using it.
All right.
I'm
That's
fine with
the
it.
proof.
It's fine. It's fine.
It's all over. It's my daily rider. Like, what the fuck?
I am weighing in as a professional, semi-professional commentator, and I believe that the narrative is about to swing back towards OpenAI with the release of their new Spud model this week. And I feel like people have been waiting for something to jump on with Anthropic, just the way the ecosystem works. But obviously, James, you disagree. And I'm sorry for cutting you off earlier. Do you have anything else there? Yeah.
No, Max is sitting there at his desk like Rick Rubin, the meme, just like sensing the vibes.
Exactly. He's a Twitter taste like holding his headphones or whatever? He's like just like eyes closed. Like, what talents do I have? I have no talents. Sometimes people follow my taste.
Okay, and Max's taste is the meta taste of what the vibes are. Okay, moving on. I have a winner and loser this fortnight. My loser of the fortnight is Figma. Figma got crushed over the last couple weeks.
Poor Figma.
Yeah,
Poor
first
Figma.
Mike Krieger steps off the board. Several days later. Yeah, he works.
Mike Krieger steps off Figma's board of directors, right? Like
Mike Krieger steps off Figma's board of directors. Mike Krieger works at Anthropic. Mike Krieger, and then in a few days later, Claude Anthropic releases Claude Design, a research preview, which is essentially an agentic Claude-powered Figma, like in the browser.
This just
and
speaks
it is
to
very good.
How trivial crushing Figma's business is to Anthropic. They're like, oh yeah, fuck, we forgot to say we're killing you. I guess I need to step off the board.
Yeah. I was like, oh wait, I should have done this a long time ago.
I forgot. Oh yeah, that thing I'm on the board of. Oh, we're murdering you. Yeah, your stock's about to tank.
Oh yeah,
it is
so
funny
talking
that
about
these board recusals are always like too little too late. Like I remember when Eric Schmidt stepped off Apple's board in like 2009 or something after they had released Android like a year earlier. And it was like, oh yeah, I probably shouldn't like be on the board of the iPhone company running Android. And it's like, similarly, like, don't the lawyers, like, aren't they like, you should recuse yourself before you try to crush the competitor you're on the board of? I don't know. Just an odd side. I'm sorry, James.
I was just going to make the point about Figma's stock, not only down, I think 7% in that hour when Claude came out with Claude Design, but also Figma down 20% in the last month.
But over the last 5 days, which I think covers the announcement, it's only down 2%, right? I mean,
that's
maybe
true. It kind of recovered a bit. It recovered a bit.
The vibes recovered. Interesting.
Or it's priced in. I don't know, but it's down 20% in the last month to me is a big signal there. Down 65% in the last 6 months.
Right. Priced in, I think, is the answer. They already the market's expected this, and obviously we in an earlier episode made predictions about how Figma was going to do, and I think I tried to come to their defense, and that's. Not looking good. Not looking good. Literally, I have the ticker up right now, and it's just like scrolling down, just falling.
You changed your mind?
I think I was initially pro Figma like 2 years ago, and then I came around, thankfully, on the last episode to being questioning the future.
I've been a Figma bear, the whole run of this show. All right, Eric, you're next.
The loser. We love to frame these things as losers.
Shouldn't we have a winner? We need one winner this week.
Well,
you got a winner?
I just took the win. I'm saying
you're taking
Claude
Anthropic
Design
as
is
the
a
winner.
win.
Okay,
Yeah, Claude Design.
Say it directly.
Let me say this also. Claude Design is really, really good. I give Claude Anthropic a win here for the fortnight because the technology is incredible. I mean, I think we've been talking on this podcast about this missing piece.
No, it's over, James. It's over for them.
It's over, according to Max, right? This has been a key missing piece in like agentic coding and vibe coding, and design has always been this like very kind of meh feature of the entire thing. So like the fact that I now have this like really, really good design tool is just incredible, and you can actually very easily create like a system of design for your company's assets, and it'll like apply that really well. It like one shots incredible designs. Like it's only been out a few days, so this is like the worst it'll be. I'm super impressed by the product.
My loser of the fortnight is Sam Altman. I mean, obviously.
I mean, is this like, yeah, I think
like
not
punching
caveat
him in
is-
while he's down.
yeah.
I know. He had the Molotov cocktail and the shooting. It's terrible. I feel bad for him. I said on the other podcast, I'll say on this one, certainly don't wish violence on anyone. Like, I don't even necessarily know that the fate of the world. I don't get these doomers. Like, I'm not a doomer, but even if I were, it's like, don't you need to know that the next guy is going to be like so much better to your cause? It's like, what, you scare Sam Altman? You're not necessarily going to. Isn't a dysfunctional OpenAI good for doomers in some ways?
Is that why he's the loser of the fortnight? Because he got attacked?
No, that's all preamble. No, that was all just sort of like throat clearing. Had to, my heart goes out to him and his family sort of situation. No, it's. I mean, obviously, we had the New Yorker article, I don't know, a couple weeks ago now. I don't know. Time is a morass. But we had New Yorker saying, oh, maybe Fiji becomes CEO and has lots of criticisms against him. Now, on April 16th, we have the Wall Street Journal saying things don't look good, floating Brett Taylor as a successor. Among the many accusations in this Wall Street Journal story is that Sam Altman, who obviously doesn't own a lot of OpenAI and needs to find other ways, I guess, to make money, is the largest backer of this company, Helion, which is doing nuclear power. And he tried to get OpenAI to value it at $35 billion, which obviously would have been very good for him. And then ultimately, OpenAI doesn't do it because other people get in the way at OpenAI. He had to recuse himself. And then Thrive, ultimately, which is a friend of Sam Altman, does the deal at $15 billion. And it's sort of like, I don't know. Just it's self-dealing, but that's sort of the way of Silicon Valley. But I think more it's been a bad week for Sam just in this like sort of continued stories of like who's going to replace him as CEO. Like the reporters are clearly out here like making their subtle predictions about who they think could be the next CEO. And I don't think
this just comes back to my narrative arc hero's journey meta view here, though, which is he's just one good model away from being back, baby. Like one kick-ass model. If the Spud, GPT 5.5, whatever we think is going to release this week, people are saying it's the first brand new pre-trained model in 2 years almost from OpenAI. The buzz is good. The vibes are good. If they come out with a really fucking awesome model this week, people are going to be like, Sam is back, baby. Like, what were we thinking? Brett Taylor, oh, he can't put together a killer model like the old Altman-Brockman duo. Like, I feel the hero's journey just trending back upwards. And I, of course, will pretend I never said any of this if the model is bad. But
I agree with you that these companies live or die based on the actual product quality and
the latest model.
Right.
Yeah. If the latest model is good, which the early buzz is good.
Do we know when it's supposed to come?
It was dated last week initially, but now they're saying this week, I think.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Can we talk about this Sam Altman haterade tour in the press? Like what, Eric, you were one of the original.
You're a pressman. Yeah, you're a man who understands how the clickety clack of the keyboard goes.
Put on your newsman hat.
What's happening? What's happening in those news divisions
listen,
these
I'm
days?
a media baron now. I have multiple employees. I've got contractors working for me.
You're the only profitable media entity in New York.
This is.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, tell us what's going on. Why is everyone coming down on Sam in the last 2 weeks?
These things have moods. I mean, the New Yorker, was working on their article for 6 months to a year. So Ronan Farrow, took his time. So that wasn't new. I mean, whenever there are a lot of stories, a lot of people have been leaving OpenAI, which creates a lot of sources for reporters to talk to. Because whenever there are disaffected people leaving your company, that's a good opportunity for sourcing. So I have to imagine that's part of it. I don't know if there's a campaign level. I guess I don't have a sense.
Can we just discuss this Ronan Farrow article for 1 second? And this is the guy who took down Harvey Epstein, basically. Wasn't this article
Harvey
kind of
Epstein?
weak?
Harvey Weinstein.
Harvey Weinstein. Harvey Epstein is Jeffrey Epstein and Harvey Weinstein
We
merging
figured
in my
it out.
mind.
Yeah, we got it.
Yeah. Wasn't Harvey Epstein the name of that New York councilman or something? Anyway, I'm sorry. I've lost my mind. Okay, Harvey Weinstein. Took down Harvey Weinstein. This article was kind of weak sauce, I think. Like, as a person who is very interested in the narrative of Sam Altman's, alleged duplicity and, so on and so forth. Like, I just find it amazing that so many people have taken shots on goal at, like, Sam Altman, is inconsistently candid or lies to everyone based on what form of euphemism you're using. But, like, I've still seen, like, no good smoking guns in any of these stories trying to nail him down on anything. I mean, like, either he is just, like, a world generational, avoider of blame or avoider of, like, ever putting anything on paper.
I just think
But,
a
like,
lot of the lies end up looking piddling, but they make the people
Right.
he's working with not like working with him. So sure, it's
that's
not like
believable,
it's not like he
but-
lies necessarily about like these like. Though I mean, what remember like Dario in the story? It says like Dario was going to meet Sam. He's like, I just got in a car crash. I do think there is a level of like. I mean, I don't know if the story proves that was a lie, but
we don't know that the car crash wasn't real. That's the thing. That part I actually found borderline unethical because Ronan Farrow kept alleging that it was a fake car crash, but didn't have any
I'm
evidence
sure
that it was
he
a fake
asked
car
Sam
crash.
for proof, like that there was a car crash.
Okay. For the record, I've been in an Uber car crash, so it's not impossible that your Uber can be in a car crash. Okay, so I just didn't think that was that crazy, and then
Sure.
he kept being like snidely kind of alluding that was another lie because this guy's a consistent liar. And
all
like,
these people around him. I mean, he was forced out of YC, right? He was forced out of YC. He
Paul
Dario
Graham
and
takes
crew
issue with
fled.
that assessment.
Paul Graham
No,
was
he's
fighting.
very like they don't. First of all, they're all over not all over the place. I think they've been consistent. They're very sort of particular about what they say, but Jessica. They basically make the point that Sam, I think, had the power not to be forced out, and so did agree to be pushed out, right? But Jessica Livingston, Paul Graham's wife and co-founder of YC and heart of YC, asked him to step aside. Like what?
Well,
that I don't.
Well,
think
I think
they
it was.
contest.
I think the contested part of it. It's very minor, but is like PG says we asked him to choose between OpenAI and YC.
Oh, right.
And so
Yes.
it was not that we were unwilling to have him lead YC, but we were unwilling to have him lead both at the same time.
But then
Yeah.
there was some mess on the way out. Him being chairman, him not. Like it was definitely a feistier than they keep willing to admit in public.
I don't
Yeah.
know. This to me starts to just sound though like, the famous Steve Jobs reality distortion field where it's like, yeah, like Steve Jobs would say one thing to one person and one thing to another person, or he would be all in on something and then he would change his mind and everyone would be like, what the fuck? Like, I just feel like this stuff, again, it's sort of like if you're a winner, this stuff gets canonized as like, oh, well, this guy, he just changes his mind and sometimes he says different things to different people, but, we're just fucking winning, baby. And then when you're down, when people are punching down on you, it's like, oh my God, this person's like, consistent, sociopath, liar, or whatever. I don't know. None of it came across, to your point, as anything more than piddling, I guess. And if OpenAI keeps winning, it feels like it'll go down in the
Steve
annals
Jobs,
of history.
I
It's
mean,
like
obviously had
more
lots
of
of
a reality
vices,
distortion.
was mean to people, but Steve
Yes.
Jobs had a great sense of like virtue and nobility and like what he
Yeah.
was building. Obviously, you're not saying
Sure.
they're the same people,
Well,
but
no,
I'm
I'm
saying
not.
that you need like some sort of super strong positive.
I think that
attributes to
Sam
people. Sam does come off as just like seeking power first and foremost.
Sam, to me, if you look at the actual record of a lot of these disagreements, comes off looking great. I mean, like, I want to build OpenAI while I'm YC president. Wow, that was a good idea in retrospect.
true.
I don't really care about the safety risk of like GPT 3.7 or whatever. Like also very
That's true.
forward thinking.
Yeah, this is
Like,
very compelling.
I think we maybe need fusion energy in the future. I don't know. Maybe he's right. Like all these things are like very
I
correct.
know. Yeah, I agree. That's very well put.
Clip that. Somebody clip that. That was a better defense that I could muster for Sam.
I don't know. I'm just like, okay, well, even if he's lying about these things at the time, like the idea that he's not like a world-class, forecaster of future of technology and a leader of startups is ridiculous to me. But yeah.
But it feels like OpenAI is sort of teetering. It's like,
wow, this is the vibe question.
People are leaving. What?
This is my thesis. Well, we're one good model away, baby.
Kevin Wheel, we just saw is out. Like there are, there are reports that Sarah Fryer and Sam were at odds. Fiji, Simo, the chief CEO of AGI implementation, applications, whatever
it
the
is
hell.
True that they
is on medical leave.
They were caught on the wrong foot with Claude. Like Claude is not. Like they were not prepared for this level of success in coding, and the success of Claude Cowork in the enterprise, the success of what they're doing already with a super app, essentially, where you just put everything on a Mac app and it does everything. So I definitely
Dario is amazing at employee retention in an industry where that is the most important thing, and Sam Altman has proven abysmal at it. Now, OpenAI is an older company, but like. At the end of the day, this isn't Steve Jobs where you've already succeeded. Like Sam is in the middle of the fight, and he needs to keep some of this amazing talent there. And the people he decides to recruit as executives need to work out. And right now, Dario is doing much better with retention, hiring, and then of course the most important thing with models working. So I'm betting on Anthropic right now.
All right. So now we're going to kick off the news and notes section, and I want to start this with kind of a package of tweets, including actual commentary from the sources and jokes. This is the ongoing drum I've been beating for this entire show, and I'm going to keep beating it until these people are beaten into submission, which is the leaders of the AI companies, to come back to the Steve Jobs discussion, need to figure out what the messaging is going to be about how great AI is for humanity, and not how it's just going to obliterate all jobs and perhaps kill everyone. And this is just a weekly check-in on the kind of stuff people are saying on this front, which it's sort of incredible how frequently they make people feel terrified with their communication. So first, we have the OpenAI newsroom on April 7th, where Sam Altman says this moment reminds him of early 2020, where we have a global pandemic sweeping the world, eventually killing millions, and the people at OpenAI are sort of at the front of that charge. Like they're the first ones who understand and are creating and actually distributing that pandemic around the world. And so, and this ties into this Onion post here Peter Wilderford posted, where Sam Altman, this is a joke, this is satire, says, if I don't end the world, someone far more dangerous will. And this is like a perfect encapsulation of the calm style of these AI leaders. And
it's almost not funny because it's so close to the real thing he says. It's just right.
It is crazy. I mean, it's very similar to Dario saying, 50% of white-collar jobs are going to be gone in 5 years. And then he doesn't offer, like, a solution related to that problem.
But some of these clips, they literally keep circulating. Like, the Dario one just flamed up. And I think it's from several months ago.
Yeah.
And now we're seeing reporting, about efforts, I think it was in the Washington Post, about, like, doomers basically intentionally trying to get influencers to like hype up some of the doom. So obviously these CEOs should have watched their words in the first place. But I worry that even if they say everything right going forward, these old lines, like in a presidential election, will just keep haunting them for the rest of the time. They're on video.
Exactly. And I find it very strange that, like, within the companies, to your point, Anthropic is seen as, like, the good guys, when I would say outside the company, Dario is extremely aggressive about messaging this sort of horrible societal changes that will likely come out of his work, right? I mean, there's this sort of funny tweet from, Prepared Remarks, where it's like...
Last year, Dario wrote Machines of Loving Grace, which clearly kudos to, Anthropic's PR team or whoever got it in his ear, was at least a positive look of what OpenAI might do, including like health discoveries and other stuff like that. Then this year he wrote more of the doomer thing, but he tried to start with like, okay, here are the positive things. So there is a degree to which humans latch onto the very negative ones. But
I just think they need the problem is the bad stuff is like 5 words incomprehensible to a child, which is it's going to take all of your jobs and maybe kill you. And the good stuff is in these like bizarre 5,000 word essays called Machines of Loving Grace, as if like Jane Austen wrote it or something. Like, was this a sequel to Sense and Sensibility? Like, and it's sort of this sort of flowery, like, well, maybe it'll do this, maybe it'll do that. Like, they need a one-liner that's like, it's going to cure cancer, or we're all going to have millions of dollars and there's going to be a 2-day work week, or like, I don't know, like just, we're going to have infinite clean energy or something.
When you just announce that you're going to, do some great thing for them. But if you say,
I just think they need to pick, they need to pick the one thing they're most passionate about that a 5-year-old would understand, and just keep hammering on that thing, because all the good stuff is sort of speculative and flowery, and all the bad stuff is very concrete with very clear timelines about how horrible it's going to be.
In Newcomer, we did an analysis of the polling to try and understand just like what the public thinks.
Yes.
First of all, Americans are uniquely worried. Americans,
great.
like Great Britain. But they're specifically worried about jobs. Like, their concern is this jobs issue. And so I get, if you're a CEO building this tech, you want, people to start, playing around with it and thinking, oh, what might I do and how can I use it? And sort of announcing to the world, like, don't just let the elites take advantage of this new technology. Like, figure it out now because it could come for you. But, man, it is really, I think a lot of people are just like, I'm a trucker and this is coming for me, and there's no response.
I guess what should Dario and Sam be saying in that world where they believe that these truckers are going to be out of work in a few years, or they believe all white collar labor is going to be out of work?
I think Rune had a tweet that we should pull up, but I think it was something like, we're trying to give you, like an infinity box of unlimited power. Like, you can do with it what you please. We're trying to give it to everybody. I don't think they say it exactly like that, but emphasizing, we're trying to make your life a lot easier. We're going to give you this tool available to everyone that's going to give you, the ability to achieve a lot of things you previously couldn't. And instead of, gaming out what that means for your job, just like, you're going to have this great all-powerful like sidekick that's
my take is they should say everyone's going to be rich and we're going to have a 3-day work week or something, like something simple, like we're all going to be rich because the AI is going to be doing all this work that we don't want to do, and we're going to have a 3-day work week, and life is going to be much more fun.
So yes. OpenAI and Sam Altman and Chris Lehane, come out with this like, could have been Bernie Sanders created like policy agenda. Like, we need, a great safety net for everybody. And then you would see Elon saying, we need to have universal basic income. Meanwhile, like Elon especially is, one of the biggest owners, if not the biggest owner of the Republican Party. Like, these Republicans who would never create the type of safety net he is articulating. Similarly, there's very little evidence that OpenAI is like bullying politicians into creating this safety net. Like, what do you guys make of, at the one hand, they're starting to get the message, like, we need to promise, like, Americans, we're going to give them all this great protection because of this disruption. But then the actual politicians they seem to support have no intention of creating that policy environment.
I think that...
I honestly... Sorry, go ahead, James. Yeah.
I think that Elon is kind of the exception there. I mean... I think, like, I was listening to Vinod on stage at a conference last week, and he was saying that in 5 years we'll have to like raise capital gains equal to income tax. We will have mass unemployment. We'll have some sort of massive increase in the social safety net. And Vinod's a known sort of Democrat.
I mean, he's a Democrat.
Yeah, proponent.
He's
right?
one of the few holdouts.
Sure. Well, I guess I just...
Holdouts among the super top tippy billionaire tech types.
Yeah. I guess I think that, this is gonna either happen or not, and like politicians will react when they start seeing double-digit unemployment like numbers, right? And I don't think we're there yet. So, but I do think like what Dario and even Sam Altman in this new comms strategy are trying to achieve is to say, hey, like, this is coming. You better start thinking about it. And even if you don't listen to us, maybe you'll wake up in a couple of years and change your view on this stuff.
I mean, very cynically, like, Facebook strategy about social media was always like, yes, please regulate us. And like, yes, please solve this at a societal level. Because the problem is solving it at a societal level is like much harder than, giving them a hard time. I don't know. It's like asking Congress to like go fix everything. They don't,
Yeah.
So there's like this cynical, whenever you're saying Congress, come up with a policy that saves us all. It never happens. And
yeah,
so it's
but
a great thing to
not
push
just
the buck to somebody else.
That's not just self-interested, though. I'm sure like Facebook is basically like, we don't know how to solve this either. Like, it's a really complex question, and well,
they tried to create a constitution and oversight board.
Exactly.
And they're slowly dismantling it and undermining it. They did have a solution that they didn't really invest in and sort of.
I feel like both sides of this have not worked. The pro-censorship and the anti-censorship approaches. Like, the social media is not working no matter how you regulate it. I don't know. So yeah, I think that's fair.
I honestly think these CEOs and founders and creators should just get out of the political argument altogether, or at least try to. I think they should just build the coolest shit possible. And if someone asks them, what to do politically about it, I think you say, hey, that's why we have elected representatives. I believe in them. They're smart. They'll figure it out. Like, I don't think anybody has gotten anything good out of like pre-flighting some political solution to some problem they believe they may be contributing to. A, I don't think people listen to them. B, people think it's disingenuous. Like, C, the solutions might actually be bad or wrong. Like, there's just no upside. Like, I think we've now tested this for the last 10 to 15 years.
Politicians on their payroll still, right? Just as a tactical matter. Like,
probably strategically or tactically, they need to donate some of these people. But
talking tactically, I agree. They should just talk about some of the. I'm talking about
from a messaging or a storytelling perspective. I just think that they spend so much time coming up with abstract political solutions to these problems they're creating, and I think it just doesn't resonate in any way. I don't think so. Anyway, moving on. Final tweet on this topic. Of course, we got to go back to the legend here, Kobe Bryant, talking about being up 2-0 in the finals way back when, and prepared remarks quotes Kobe, referencing Dario from Anthropic, when only 50% of white-collar jobs have been wiped out. And Kobe in this clip says,
"Still to be happy about.
You're up 2-0.
Job's not finished."
Like, we're only up 2-0. Job's not done yet. I'm not happy.
Well, I wanted to ask you guys sincerely, just very quickly, is the doomerism sincere? Like, I think there's like this pushback, including from like the savvy media class. I think it was Natasha Tiku in the Washington Post that basically suggests that the doomerism is just like marketing, that Anthropic has basically mastered like that to get everyone excited about their stuff. They just say it's so dangerous. Mythos is going to hack every website in the world. Like, all jobs are going to be replaced. And that's a great way to get every like business in the world to be like, oh man, we need to buy your product. Like, is the doomerism cynical, or is it a truly held belief?
I think it's truly held. I think, let's just take Dario, for example. I think you could make different arguments for different CEOs or whatever. But I think for Dario, truly held belief. And like, there's not much upside in like downplaying the dangerousness of the model. Like, I think like
too many negatives there.
There's not much he has to lose by like or I don't know how to say it, but he whatever. Dario believes these models are dangerous. Dario believes there are Dario believes these models are dangerous. Dario believes there are sort of black swan events that could happen when you release Mythos or release these types of models. We've already seen this kind of happen with early ChatGPT, freakouts around sycophancy and psychosis and like.
And to be clear, Guillermo claimed this week that their data breach was potentially facilitated by someone using AI.
Yeah.
We don't have proof of that. It's a very motivated claim. But I mean, obviously, it was also reported that the NSA is using Mythos despite this DoD breakup. Anyway,
my point is just like, let's say you're Dario and you believe there's like only a 10% chance that like in 2030 we have 50% unemployment in white collar labor. Like, is it better to just like start talking about that now, or to just like hope that the 10% chance doesn't come out? Because if it does come out, like, you instantly become like the biggest villain in the world. I mean, like, so
Right.
No, but this is my entire point from the last discussion. Like, I don't think there is any upside. Like, I think, like, if you were running Exxon Mobil and someone asks you, like, do you think oil is good or bad for society? You say, I think it's basically good for society. It gets people to work. It makes, our machines run that give us food and clothing. Like, I think oil is good. Whether or not you have issues with it, like, I believe in taking oil out of the ground and fueling the economy with it. I think these AI guys should take a page out of this book here, where they're like, you know what? AI is good. Like, it does mostly good things for people. People like it. They're having fun with it. Like, get on board or don't. But I believe in my product. This whole, like, I think my product is going to kill everyone, maybe, but I'm going to keep working my ass off on it, is just like a cognitive dissonance that is not resonating with people and is not productive in a world where we do lose 50% of the jobs, or it does kill everyone. Like, it doesn't help. Like, there's no, like, help that is being done by this. If you want to go, if you want to go run an EA charity, I don't. Them telling me the truth, quote unquote, where they're like, yeah, this might take all our jobs, is not helping. It is not achieving its consequentialist goals of either improving society or saving the jobs, in my opinion. And it also is not like making AI seem like a positive force for good in society, which one would think, if they are working on it so hard, they believe that to be the case. So it is not achieving their micro goals, nor do I believe it is achieving the macro goal of maybe saving the world at some point, quote unquote, or saving jobs or not saving our jobs and giving everyone UBI. So I just don't, from a consequential perspective, they are not achieving anything with these kinds of messaging.
So your recommendation is that Dario needs to embrace him with Sam Altman. Be a little bit of a liar in his core. Don't expose your truly held beliefs and act as a tactical moral being. That's what you want. You want a little bit of this. But why does Sam do it? It doesn't make any sense.
I don't find it, like, I wouldn't find it productive if, like, every single time Tim Cook went on the stage to announce the new iPhone, he was like, and I just want to spend the first 10 minutes talking about factory conditions at Foxconn and what it's like for all these workers who put these millions of iPhones together for all of you. Like, it doesn't, I'm not trying to be like
you're saying you sort of have to
or whatever,
make the net moral calculus, and if you decide to do it,
exactly, you have to decide.
Yeah,
you have to decide if you're in or out on working on iPhones or AI or oil or whatever the hell you want to talk about. Corn, almost any productive industry for society has upsides and has downsides. And if you commit your entire life to them, I would like to imagine that you think the upsides vastly outweigh the downsides. But this whole, like, land acknowledgement, moment of silence, like, let's pour one out for the possible doom here every single time we talk about AI is not helpful. And it's also not making these figures, like, likable or relatable or very effective communicators in achieving their goals here.
I couldn't disagree more with this. Right. I couldn't disagree with this. I think it is.
I love it. I love this.
I think it is the literal dream that we're experiencing right now. That you have a company that actually takes ownership for what it's doing. And I want to give you a very specific example. Like,
okay, all right.
By imbuing his company with this culture, like Dario has Amanda Askell, who is a philosopher, writing a constitution, thinking about the persona of Claude. Go watch. I have just published an interview on the Newcomer podcast with Amanda Askell about this. And he's retaining his employees, and he's directing his employees by his public actions to think ethically and build the product in an ethical way, which in the case of AI could matter quite a bit. And so I think it's really good. And, like, I wish we had oil. I mean, oil companies do make nods at funding environmentalism and doing some things and try. I think it's good the more they sort of worry about, if oil companies are pressured into becoming solar companies because they realize there's some risks and they don't have a long-term future, like that stuff's good.
I just want to separate. I
does worry about its supply chain and energy consumption.
Exactly. I'm separating two different things. You can internally be focused on this, right? Just like Apple is focused on improving its supply chain and is focused on improving the quality of life for its workers, as evidenced by various, initiatives and supply chain reports and so on they've done. My point is, there's a difference between that.
You don't do it on demo day or day or whatever.
Having it be like not just mentioned every single time they do any interview or announcement, but like be the core thrust of their message.
Right.
Like it's it's not. There's a difference between saying, saying, hey, I care a lot about AI alignment, and I believe Claude should have a constitution and a soul and should be fundamentally a good being. And lots of people within Anthropic and OpenAI should be working on this. I'm fully on board with you on all of this. But it has become the pervasive thread of the entire PR narrative for AI. And that is like why they're polling at like minus 32 favorability or whatever the fuck. And so I'm just saying, you can believe in making a better AI, like, and have people focused on that and not have the whole messaging be how bad AI could be for society, which is what has taken over.
They need to cure
clearly,
cancer and then talk about that. Like, do that.
Yeah.
That's the advice.
Or say that's the goal. Say like 5 years from now, we're going to cure cancer. Here's the path from here to there. Isn't that going to be cool? And like, yeah, along the way, you know, some people who are researching cancer might lose their jobs. I don't know, but like, actually, probably leave that part out. But like, you know, like we're gonna get traffic accidents
say, and
to
then we're
zero.
moving on from this.
Like,
The last thing
okay,
I want to
all
say
right.
is the hysterical reality is I feel like right now today, AI is making our jobs. Making us work harder. Like, I think everybody in Silicon Valley feels like, oh, you have AI, you need to do a lot more. And they keep talking about how we're going to lose jobs. I'm like, everybody is chasing the productivity gains out of this. So it's funny that, like, today, the evidence seems to be you're going to work harder because of AI, not like nobody's going to be working. It's like there's a lot of value to be extracted out of this thing. Anyway, next thing.
Okay. All right. Let's just set a mission to get traffic accidents to zero and not worry about the truckers along the way. That's my one-liner here.
Right.
Okay.
Self-driving cars.
All right. All right. We're going to move off the Anthropic OpenAI narrative for now. We're going to talk about some other funny stuff that happened this week. We're going to go to this Andre tweet, which is, I don't know how to say it out loud, Andre 3JH. Little picture of a Goodfellas scene where Dwarkesh Patel, famous podcaster, is being walked into what he believes is the day he gets made, becomes a made man in the mafia. And instead, Jensen Huang and Xi Jinping are standing there, assumingly ready to murder him, which is what happens in Goodfellas in this scene, if you haven't seen it. And he says, Dwarkesh will be stuffed into a black van in the Mission District and wake up in Beijing to this view. And if you don't understand the reference, Dwarkesh went on a podcast. He interviewed Jensen Huang. He was very intensely asking Jensen questions about why he needed to sell chips to China.
What a hero. Braver than many people in the media class. Like, what?
The bravest person in the media class.
Kudos.
Also, I think, as James knows, I pretty much agree with Dwarkesh's viewpoint that the selling really powerful AI chips to China is not clearly good for anyone from an American interest perspective other than Jensen Huang. Jensen Huang, in my opinion, kind of went around in circles around the basic point, which is what's good for Nvidia is good for America, was kind of
exactly
what the takeaway was.
That was the point.
Yeah,
yes.
Right. It was like, hey man, like if you don't let me sell these chips to them, then Huawei is gonna like get all this business and get really good at building AI chips. And Dwarkesh was like, maybe they're kind of behind you, but is that good for America that you're just giving them the good stuff? Like he used the analogy that like we're selling nuclear weapons to North Korea, but it's cool because the casings are made by Boeing.
Genius.
And
Love it.
that really rattled Jensen. He did not like this. So for this one, I'm going to hand off to James because I know he completely disagrees with me on this. So James, go ahead.
Okay, so just some backstory here. Like Max and I have argued about this a little bit in the past. Ben Thompson specifically has the opposite view here, which I found very compelling and interesting. Ben Thompson says, well, if China has this opportunity to rebuild their semiconductor stack from square one as a separate entity, there are a lot of downside effects of that happening, right? So one is now China can just invade Taiwan and take it over because there's not a lot of risk to them if they aren't even using the Taiwanese semi industry. Number two is the entire rest of the world will start to be running on this semi stack from China instead of America, right? So possible security risk there.
Not the entire rest of the world, just China.
Well,
right?
no, I think there's fear.
I guess I'm confused by that.
Well,
part.
there's fear that I guess it could be lower cost or.
The argument is if we deny China Nvidia, they're going to work extra hard to build their own version of it, and then once they've built it, they can sell it to the rest of the world, and that undermines us.
And I think and that they can. There's a lot less keeping them from just completely destroying Taiwan, which would be very bad for our AI industry, right? Not.
Oh, right, because they'd also sort of divest. They wouldn't be dependent on TSMC,
exactly, and
therefore they could mess with Taiwan.
Yeah, and from a humanitarian perspective, terrible, and from a U.S. AI supremacy perspective, terrible. If TSMC is no longer functional.
I am a globalist free trader, so I'm generally on board with doing business with China. We just never get anything out of China. Like, I just think, like, I would like to see more U.S. businesses succeed in China. Like, if we're going to sell China these chips, we need to be getting something, and we haven't been defending ourselves. And Trump is a total pushover on this. So I'm a little bit mixed in that I would like to see true globalism, but that involves China letting American businesses get a win besides just like selling it the very things that it wants. Like, I would like to see American businesses succeed domestically in China, selling to their consumers. I think we need to fight a little harder here.
I think a lot of this argument, though, just depends if you think we're on the cusp of something that approaches like nuclear weapon level danger or not, right? Because if you think we're really close, then I think the Dwarkish argument holds a lot of water, which is like, let's not sell them like the enriched uranium components here because like Mythos is essentially a nuclear weapon in this analogy, right? The Ben Thompson argument requires 5 to 10 years of sort of ongoing development of the Chinese manufacturing and fabrication processes, and that like that's the end game, like 10 years from now we'll all be at nuclear weapons kind of.
And China can do both at the same time. They can benefit from the Nvidia chips and then build the infrastructure. All right. Well, I got to the point faster than you did.
The same thing on electric cars and phones, right? We sell them iPhones and Teslas, and they still make phones and they still make electric cars, and it doesn't like help, like it doesn't keep them from building awesome stuff in those categories because we've already been selling them Teslas and phones. So I guess I don't find the Jensen argument very persuasive, other than Nvidia should be able to make more money in China, which is kind of where it felt like it came down.
I'm side Dorkesh won. What about you guys?
No, I think Dorkesh won the argument for sure. I mean, I also think like a lot has changed for me in like 6 months on this topic, because if you believe at all that like Mythos is this essentially weapons grade cybersecurity risk, then I think that does change the calculus, similar to what Max was just saying, where we might be closer to this becoming more of a national security threat or risk. So, but 6 months ago, I was kind of more on the side of like, what weapons are we talking about here? Like, what? We hadn't really seen a lot of evidence that AI was going to be this critical.
I interviewed Keith Raboy on the other show. Maybe we can cut to it. He was insistent that Trump was like going to capitulate on this Nvidia chips issue. Keith, it's not looking like that capitulation is happening.
I don't think they're going to get the chips.
Oh, really?
Oh, I personally hope they don't get the chips.
Is this wish casting or knowledge?
No, I think there's like it has been delayed.
All right, a couple more funny tweets, and then we'll move on to the game. One is a guy named Bharat_USD, US dollar, who said, VCs love posting 1950s America aura edits and then lead a $10 billion round into a gambling app, which I thought was pretty funny because there are a lot of 1950s American aura edits, especially coming out of folks like Andreessen Horowitz and Founders Fund. And then to his point, basically some of the largest, if not the largest investments of these firms over the last year have been Kalshi and Polymarket, which are these prediction markets. For the record, I'm a fan of the concept of prediction markets, but unfortunately they have basically devolved into being 70 to 80% sports gambling and bankrupting young men across America. So, Eric, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, the prediction markets are so tragic. Our group thread was extremely bullish on prediction markets, and I feel like we never really talked about, this is going to be used as a backdoor to sports gambling. And I just want to know like when they sort of figured out that obviously that's what their business was going to be, but yeah, I'm really disillusioned. I mean, it's sort of like a Juul situation where they're like, it's better than cigarettes. And then you find out, kids love Juul. Like, it's a great new way to get kids addicted to nicotine. And I feel like this prediction market is the same thing. It's like, we could get people betting on like healthier stuff than sports. And then it's like, actually, this is a great new vehicle to get around sports betting regulation. And so, yeah, it's tragic. And I don't think it's how venture capitalists should be spending their time or money.
James?
I mean, I have a lot to say on prediction markets, but I feel like this is an AI podcast. I don't know why we're slotting in these venture capital anti-prediction market takes.
Everything's AI now. All right, we'll move on. All right, last tweet. This is a more positive thing. Patrick, this is coming back to our positive applications of AI message. Patrick Collison says he has a great doctor, access to excellent Bay Area medical care, but recently the most useful preventative medical advice that he's ever received has come from unleashing coding agents, i.e. I assume Claude Code and Codex, on my genome, having them investigate my specific mutations and having them recommend specific follow-on tests and treatments. I'm not going to read the entire tweet because he wrote a small book here, but it does seem like he's found out some positive information about his medical future from unleashing coding agents on his genome. I think that's super exciting. One little funny bit was he said, it turns out I probably have a 30x higher than average predisposition to melanoma, which I don't have the tweet in front of me, but someone was like,
just throw up a picture of Patrick Collison. Like, who needed that? Like, yeah.
you needed an AI to say
white,
that this, like,
pale Irish guy like is susceptible to getting like skin cancer from sunburns. Like, what the fuck? Like,
yeah,
that undermined the whole post. I thought. I mean,
he did
it was
probably
an
need a better
inspiring
example
post,
there.
but-
Yes. First of all, I generally agree with Patrick that I think AI agents crawling the human genome is a great idea. It's just funny that melanoma was the example. Like myself, I don't know if you can see on the video podcast, I'm covered in sun damage. I also, I think, have a 30x higher than normal predisposition to melanoma, and I probably didn't need the AI agent for that. But my point is this is where things are headed, AI crawling our genomes to make us live happy, healthy lives, and that should be what Dario and Sam talk about. James.
I mean, I'm
None.
excited for this. I agree with the kind of inherent hilarity that this is what the test came out with. But, I'm excited for this view of personalized medicine. I think we're very close to it. I think it's kind of an underrated topic. So, yeah, speaking of underrated, do you guys want to play a game?
Yes.
Okay. We're going to play overrated, underrated, or properly rated. I'm going to throw out a topic in AI, and you guys are going to tell me whether the vibes are properly rating it, overrating it, or underrating it as a thesis or as a subject matter or, prognostication of the future. So does that sound good?
Let's do it.
All right. Kicking off, and some of these we've covered a bit, but so if you guys want to just do one or two sentences each, that sounds good. If you want to go deeper, let me know. But we'll start with one we've hit on a little bit today already. Mythos.
Overrated.
I think properly rated.
I just think overrated because it was hailed as the second coming of nuclear weapons, as we discussed. And then most people were like, these bugs it found in old security are actually not that important or not that valid, or that interesting bugs. And then secondly, I think I am increasingly of the belief that the reason they didn't release it is because they don't have the compute, not because it's like the God machine that's going to find cybersecurity holes and everything. So I guess I would say overrated, but overrated by the initial narrative that it was the end game for cybersecurity.
I largely agree with Max. It's also hysterical. I feel like calling it mythos, it's bound to be overrated.
Yes.
It's like,
yes, exactly.
Such a right. It is a myth. It is the thing to end all things. Like, I don't know. It's just like, so I largely agree, but I think it's, pretty damn important, and like finding security vulnerabilities, and the Department of Defense seems to be taking it seriously. And so, yes, there's a lot of hype, and I sort of agree on this. Can they really even deliver on this model at scale? But it's pretty impressive, so properly rated. But we don't have it, so how do we know?
Next one. Let's go to Eric first on this. XAI.
Overrated? Like, what? How did he get away with it? I don't
you think
understand.
Still overrated? Like today? That's my question. Is
I just feel like you swindle your whole company over to another company. Like everybody leaves. Like I feel like, the fact that it got all these it's going to be the next top. It's going to be one of the major models in contention type stories, and now it's sort of seemingly a non-entity. I don't know how it's still overrated. Yeah, it hasn't sort of gotten enough lashings.
I guess it really depends on the stock price in some. I mean, it's like if they IPO at $2 trillion, I think clearly overrated by the market. I guess we should say. maybe it's a little bit underrated by tech Twitter at this point. I mean, I use like Grok in my car because it's built into Tesla, and you're like, this is a pretty good model. You're like, it's pretty good. Like, it just goes to show that like a decent model with a voice interface is like a pretty good product in many cases. So I maybe slightly underrated by tech Twitter, but overrated by the market at $2 trillion for sure.
Okay, fair. Humanoid robots.
Overrated. I think potentially one of the biggest scams of this era.
Fascinating.
I think overrated as well in any sort of short timeline. I believe in robots long term, but it seems like we're a long way away from having good robots, and it's not clear to me why they need to be humanoid. I guess like if you're doing a first principles analysis, like why do we have to make them in the shape of humans? There's lots of tasks that humans do that humans are not optimized for. So it's not clear to me that the general purpose human-shaped robot is like where things end up.
I moderated a panel with two roboticists, CEOs, one that sold Fauna Robotics to Amazon, and the other one, Pim DeWitt. I think it's Applied Intuition. And I mean, both of them, models. They're trying to find areas to focus in on, like the Fauna Robotics. It's like, okay, sort of small, friendly, looking at your house, not over-promising. Applied Intuition is like, okay, we're going to use like video game inputs to control these things. Like they want to constrain as many of the sort of potential variables they create as possible and start from there. And humanoid is like, we're going to boil the ocean instead of trying to solve specific tasks that still require a lot of like open-ended reasoning. And so I just think, humanoid robotics is trying to take on far too much when you could have a dedicated purpose robot first.
I guess like, are we in where if humanoid robots are kind of the self-driving cars of the 2015 era, like aren't we kind of in like a little bit of a post hype phase, post Optimus, and now it's going to start coming?
I still think we're pretty early. I don't think the average person like has any concept of humanoid robots at all, and I think that like people were like sort of burned by the self-driving claims in the late 2010s and early 2020s. I felt like at a much I sort of think we're like at the top of the first inning on humanoid robot hype in some ways. I guess I think self-driving cars is a good analogy, because I think the reason a self-driving car needs to basically be a car is because it has to interact with all the other cars on the road as part of this integrated system in order to transition from human cars to self-driving cars. But within your home, for example, any use case for a humanoid robot, you could have a specialized robot that just does that thing, that it doesn't need to be shaped like a human, like to walk around, to move around your home or to do its job, right? And so like it's not fitting into this big system where it needs to be shaped like, a human to be part
the
of
argument
it.
for humanoid that I don't believe, but is like, one, we evolved to be the top species, so there's some there's evolutionary evidence that's a good form factor. Two, we built human problems to be addressed by human bodies. So it's like, my laundry machine is at my height.
Right.
And so you build a robot in humanoid form that can do that.
But it can also do
I don't have a
the
good
dishes.
third one, but I just think, right. But I don't agree with that, but there's definitely an argument for why you would want human robots.
All right. Next one. Meta Superintelligence Labs.
I guess underhyped they just did better than I think we thought they were doing. The stock market went up, valued them 7% more. So I guess now they're properly hyped, but they had been until very recently underhyped, apparently.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I'm still probably not a huge believer long term. I think that like the insight here is that they may not have long term had access to the best Anthropic or OpenAI models or Google models, because everybody in those four companies like fucking hates each other. So they were like, we got to do it ourselves because like these guys are all going to try to screw us. So like they needed their own model. It's not clear to me if they're going to open up those models to other people in like a very productive way.
I doubt it. I think it's going to become more of a closed source company.
Right. So I guess strategically they had to do it. Is it like going to be the cutting edge model that other people are taking advantage of? Not looking that way right now. Hard to say.
All right, two more, and then we'll wrap here. Chinese open source models.
Underhyped. I don't think people. Minimax. I interviewed the president of Minimax, one of the top foundation model companies in China, at HumanX, they've sort of moved away, honestly, from being open source. So I'm stretching this answer, but the company's worth like $50 billion US. Like, just from a financial matter, it's like amazing. The sort of like, it went public in Hong Kong. Like, the amount of hype for some of these Chinese companies, I think, is very underappreciated on American AI Twitter. And then obviously, I think the open source models just loom so large in being a competitive force against the American models. And a lot of the businesses, I think, my last point, I think the key point is honestly that a lot of companies using Chinese open source models don't want to talk about it because it's not good for their reputation. And so I think they're saving a lot of money by using these models and then not talking about it. That is the recipe for something being underhyped.
Yeah, I tend to agree with Eric. I think underhyped. I do think it's a little bit like Android phones, like in, the 2010s, where it's like, they're not the best, they're super cheap, they're kind of junky in a lot of ways. They're definitely, to your point, you don't brag about having it, the whole green bubbles thing. But like, ultimately, like, they were, 85% of the phone market. And so it's like 85% of global computing happens on an Android phone, whether or not you think they're like cool or not. So that's sort of how I think of them, which I think is like super duper important, but like unlikely to ever be the sort of gold standard.
All right, last one, and then we'll wrap. This one leading right into our upcoming conference, if you haven't heard about it, Cerebral Valley Voice Summit on May 6th in San Francisco. Check it out at cerebralvalleyvoice.com. See incredible speakers in the voice AI industry.
If you're a founder of a voice company, an investor in voice companies, a reporter on AI, apply.
We believe in talking, talking is important.
CerebralValleyVoice.com, email newcomer@newcomer.co. Okay,
right.
What's the
overrated, underrated, or properly rated? Voice AI.
Oh my God.
Eric has to go first on that one.
I mean, I hate ones where I'm seemingly corrupt. I try not to be, but I do think it's underrated. I mean, just the reality is that, we're having the conference, right? So obviously we believe there's a lot to happen, and I'm just not day to day interacting with a lot of Anthropic or OpenAI or whatever models via my voice. And so I think the consumer penetration, while we've got, old people talking to Siri or whatever, and apparently I guess Max talking to Grok in his car, but voice, is underpenetrated. And so I think given the justified optimism of the tech set, for the broader culture, there's still a lot of deployment to come.
Yeah, obviously I'm going to say underrated. I'm not even going to have some preamble about how I'm biased or whatever. I think that I keep coming back to the core principle, which is that in the tech industry, I think people like reading and they like typing, or they're good at typing, I guess we would say. And most people don't like to type very much. They're not very fast at it. And so voice input is a much better way to put in information into a computer. And a lot of people don't like to read that much, just like whether you think that's a bad thing for society, I think we can get a bigger argument about. But the way most people consume information is through visual media, right? And I just think that visual outputs and voice inputs are the way of the future for all computing, and that AI is a great way to do that now that you can talk to your computer or talk to a character within a game. Or I actually think there's a whole angle for these ChatGPT and Anthropic and other AI companies to actually turn their AIs into more like characters. Like the fantasy of talking to, Wall-E or, someone fun with a personality within the machine has actually not really been adopted by the major AI companies. And I think will be a big part of what attracts people to using them in the future. So
it will help with this sidekick idea. I think if you have a model that feels like your model that you're attached to and you how do you say anthropomorphize?
Anthropomorphize,
yeah. If you do that, then, you'll like it more, and the AI will start polling better. So I think they need to run it.
Yeah. Well, I think people Hollywood always is sort of ahead on this stuff because they can just sort of imagine things without constraints, right? And one of the sort of signature AIs in film is Jarvis, is Iron Man's sidekick who helps him build things and is a sort of sarcastic British guy, right? And people are like, oh yeah, that's kind of fun, right? He's talking to his computer. It is this fun character, right? I just can't see a world in which everybody doesn't have a sidekick or a buddy or a pet or whatever.
And it becomes
like
part of your
AI
persona. Yours is this
Right.
way, it's another piece of your personality.
Exactly. It's an expression of your personality and, what your wants and needs are, right? And so I think we're really, really early on that voice AI cycle.
Is Weekend going to do that? Or
we're definitely going to do game implementations of that. I don't know about doing a general AI character, although if you think that's a good idea for the company, we can talk. But I have had this like crazy middle of the night idea, which is like, why don't we just like skin ChatGPT, but with like a prompt to make it into like a fun, playful character, and then just like put that in the App Store as like the fun, friendly character AI. So maybe we should do that. But then we would just be a rapper company, Eric.
Nothing.
Oh my God,
I've always been for rapper companies. I think that makes a lot of sense. Nobody knows how to use. We have all these people who are like, AI does nothing. I'm like, you just don't have the creativity to figure it out. And so we just need a lot of companies to like show people how to get value out of AI. And so I think there's a lot of work to be done. Just like the model's right here waiting for you. Here's how we show you what to do with it.
Great. Well, if you enjoyed that discussion, check out cerebralvalleyvoice.com, and we will see folks there on May 6th. And thanks, Max and Eric.
But you have to apply and get accepted. Don't just show up. Otherwise, listen to the podcast.
We're not telling them where
We're
it
not
is.
just saying, just like roll in.
It's an application.
If you're smart enough, to figure out the venue without us telling you, you can.
That's
you can
not
come.
true either. That's also not true. We will turn you away. We get bouncers now. It's like an AI conference. All right, see you guys. Thanks for watching the Cerebral Valley Show. Remember to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and follow us on TikTok at Cerebral Valley Show.